Hello and welcome back to TheMadeMan. And it's been a few months, but today we're gonna be continuing on the series of making a car for San Andreas, right? So, like, subscribe, whatever you can do to my channel, support me if you like the content. Let's get straight into it. And so today we're gonna be making we're gonna be texturing the wheels and also adding damaged parts to all the parts of the car, I guess. So let's start right away with the wheel. Last time we left, we have the wheel like this. We haven't textured it at all. And okay, let me remove the materials that we don't need. And so, anyways, let's start then with the easiest parts of it. So let's just hide the car, I guess. Hide the rest of the car because we don't want it to get in the way. So let's save to a separate file. There we go. We're gonna start with the easiest part, which is, I guess, this one, the inner side, which is assigned to like a generic material. So let's see. This one is generic 01. Okay, it's been a while, guys. I may have forgot about my own materials. So let's map to a black section, basically. Scale it down to a tiny thing and just like this. There we go. Now we have, okay, now I forgot which, okay, this is the front. Now we have the black thing becoming the black, and then now we have the brakes, which we added a long time ago, I guess. Map it from the sides, and here we're gonna mirror everything into one. So there we go. Now that we combine them into one mesh, we move it to this section of the texture, and we scale like this. Also, make sure it's like in the middle. Don't put it too close to the corners because of the bleeding. And we also do this. If you have like a more sporty car, I guess I've seen some cars having texture like this, mapped like this, but this is like an ordinary Camry, so we just leave it there. And okay, we forgot to assign the material, so of course we can change the material here to like generic 001. Where is it now? There's our brakes, and so now let's work our way out. We've done this in mesh and the brakes. We're gonna be making this texturing this part, which is the inside. I don't know, inside of the rim, I guess. Let's use the generic texture, okay? And so we map it from the top, and we just rotate 90 degrees. Alright, now we have this inner part of the rim done. Of course, don't forget to assign the materials. So I guess next one we'll do the tire, and so we'll start with the side wall, or whatever it is called, I don't know. Of course, we have this material, and we're gonna apply the tire material. Assign the tire material to the selected mesh, and now we can start mapping them. Let's do it from the sides, okay? Map it, and of course texture doesn't change automatically, and we can just do it ourselves. Here we go. Typically, normal cars would have something like this for the tire, so we have to mirror everything into place first of all. So now for the tires, to prevent like stuff like bleeding, where you have like a little bit of a line in the texture, we can turn on this menu here, UV, round to pixels, and center, so we can move it into the correct center of the pixels, basically. There we go. And now we can do the the outer rings of the mesh. Apply the texture and map it. I guess we map it from the top. Let's use this texture as an example for this. So we have here the top, and of course we need to see which one is the front and back. So it should point. So this is what I talked about with the bleeding. If you don't turn on the round to pixels thing, you have these lines like this popping up, and we don't want that. But for now, of course, we have to turn it off because we're still working on the. Once we line up into the relative position of the texture, we turn it on. Okay, so you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm doing this. And so, anyways, as we can see here, the texture is going. The view is going. This on the left is the bottom side. Okay, I'm not very good at cars. Don't know how they work. Anyways, but the texture looks like that, so we'll apply it to our view as well. And so we map it from the top view, and so this kind of arrow thing should go top like this, and so we have to rotate by minus 90 degrees. Okay, so we minus 90 degrees, and now we have this section that will be the base of it. So I guess it was an equal x-axis, move it here, and then we move this here, and then move the corners to this. And now we have the correct rotation. We scale it up to this, maybe a little smaller than the texture itself, because we are gonna make it the center anyway. So, and now we have this lined up a little bit. We turn on the round to pixels thing to center, and we line them up. And then we turn it off, of course, when we're done. And now we have the tires. You'll notice there's a weird pattern going, that it's going like down and up. We select the ones that go up, like this, going to the back of the car, of course. And we go into the UV editing with only these faces selected. And then we mirror them. Now we have the wheel, no, the tire being in the correct orientation. But of course, we do not leave it like this because there will be like UV seams and stuff. But we'll come back and touch upon this later. Just remember that the texture don't really connect to each other. There will be a seam, okay? Anyway, so that's the tire done. We're gonna be moving on to the rims, and I mean, really, this part, it depends on what kind of rims you're making. And this is what I make, so yeah. Okay, but don't forget, of course, you gotta assign the material to generic, I guess. Let's do one at a time so we don't get confused. So, and we change the texture in here, of course, and not grunge, generic. No, not this menu. Generic. Yeah. And I guess we can map it to, essentially, this location is where usually we modders map their views around here, basically. I will just try a bunch of them and see which one works the best. Section done. So I guess we use that section for the rest of the view as well, the rims as well. So Right. Now that we have textured our whole view, we also need to deal with the that's what we call. We also need to deal with the mapping and smoothing. And so, first thing we do here is that, of course, we remove any materials that we don't need. So we only need 2 materials for the wheels, and we apply the mirror modifier. So apply it, and also we detach the right side. The right front view has to be detached. Let me show the car itself. Okay, here's the car. Right front view needs to be detached because in the game, in San Andreas cars, you only need one wheel model for the whole car, and it always just like gets copied and mirrored in the game. And they need the right front wheel, so we separate it from the other wheel. We come here, and then we apply all of the modifiers. So let's save to another file because this is not irreversible. We apply the modifiers, and then we rip the faces on the faces right here. What do they call it again, guys? I need help. These parts of the tire has to be separated. So we select them, only these. We press Y to separate them. No, okay. Before I finish selecting, you will see that if you move it, the whole tire gets moved. But so we press Y to separate it from the rest of the wheel, and it won't affect the normals if you apply the tools, the modifiers that we just did. Because if we didn't apply it, then the smoothing will be changed accordingly, and there will be sharp corners which we don't need. Of course, wheels are like smooth, they're not sharp. And so not only that we press Y on, we split, yeah, we split these parts, but also each individual faces that we have split from the rest of the view. We also need to split these because the mapping, they don't actually like continue with each other, because we remember that we select these like one like separate like this, and then we remapped it so that the texture goes to the correct sides. We also need to, you see here, it's connected. We also need to split this apart so that we have this, so that they are actually separated and will not mess up the smoothing. There's more normals in the game, and so now we have this. So from now on, try not to touch the wheels at all, except for if you have like bad mapping on the rims, because if you touch this stuff, it will get messed up and everything, and you don't want it to be messed up at all. Just leave it like this now. And so there we go, we have finished the wheels. And so next thing we do in this video is we're gonna be adding damaged parts to our model. And so here we go, here's the car. We're also missing like the license plates, and so we will add them right now as well. And so let's start with something simple. Okay, let's start with the bonnet. Okay, the bonnet is an easy one. You just need to add some scratches and make him a little bump, a little crash into it. So first of all, we're gonna have to remove the unused materials, of course, so that we reduce the file sizes. Because if you leave the materials like this, it won't be used, but it will be copied on each object, and that will increase the file size. I mean, not that like San Andreas cars are that big, they're like less than a megabyte, but the less file size is the better, because I guess it saves download time, download data, I don't know. But I like to delete the materials that we don't use on each object. It won't affect other objects that use it. It will only remove the materials that we don't use on this particular object, like the bonnet here. It only uses primary on the paint and also the generic on the badge. So we come here and we add another material right here, and we need to go to preview as well because we need to see what material is used here. On it down. Okay, it doesn't have one on this. Pretty weird. The Primo has a lot of glitches, so yeah. Let me see. Set door here. Okay. Here we go. Now we have the scratch. It uses door lf dem.5. So I'll just make another file. And here we have the bonnet underscore OK for the normal one. For the undamaged part, we just duplicate the thing. So first select the object and press Shift D and enter. Don't move your mouse because that will move the object as well. But as you can see here, it will be a new object with the same materials. Because if you Control C and Control V, you see they will make new materials, and we don't want that. We want the same materials. And so Shift D and press enter without moving the mouse is the best way. And so we have this bonnet underscore OK .02 whatever. Just rename them underscore dem, and there we go. We have this duplicate object that will add the damaged parts on, and so we just go here, select the dam object, add a material slot, select the materials that has like a scratch texture. For my case, it's dam.5. As you can see here, because dam.3 is the glass, and we will be using that later. But .5 is the scratch material. And there we go. We have the new material on our bonnet or hood. And now, next thing we do is we start just screwing up the geometry, the vertices, to make it look like it was crashed into something, you know. You can also add a few like sharp edges to make it actually look like damage. So there we go. Now we have like a basic damaged part mesh. It doesn't look very convincing, but this is essentially an example anyways, because I'm not very good at making the convincing, realistic looking kind of damaged parts. This is what I can make. This is what I came up with. But anyways, now that we make the mesh, we also need to add the scratch texture onto the car itself, the model itself. And so what we need to do is we select like a few like faces on the front where, you know, there's a like a little bit of a damage, and just duplicate the faces basically. So we can just select these, and let's say I only add the scratch at one side. You can like play around with this a lot, but yeah, you select this and then press Shift D again and just move it a little bit out of the normal mesh, because we don't want them to be like Z fighting and stuff. And but not too far, just a little bit, that it doesn't like not right on each other. Maybe a little less, because it's like this should do. And then with these faces selected, only the outer ones that we made, we apply the material and then we map it pretty much like this. There we go. As you can see, now we have the scratches on the hood. And basically, for most of the parts, it's done. It has a similar process. So you just duplicate the object, rename it to underscore dam, and like make it look like something crashed into it, and then just add the scratch texture. Same process basically. Now we're back. Now we're onto the boot or the trunk, and for my car, the license plate is on the trunk, so we'll just copy from another car. Well, as you can see here, I imported the Primo into my file, but if you know, if you drive the car in game, the Primo by default in San Andreas has a broken license plate. It doesn't show the state that it's in, it only has the numbers. So unfortunately, I will have to import another car, but that's fine. You can just, okay, we just import another car that has a normal working license plate. I'll import my own car, and of course we have to do a find missing file so that texture will actually load. And so wait, no, find missing files and materials folder. There we go. Been a few months, I forgot some things, but anyways, as you can see, now it has been imported behind the car, and then we just take the license plate out of our old car. Where is it? Find it. There we go. And now we can move it to the boot. And there we go. And then we attach it to our boot object so that we have a proper working license plate for the trunk. And also the fact that my car here has a license plate at the front bumper, we also duplicate this thing to the front bumper. And so we just shift D, press enter, P to separate. So now we have the plate on both the trunk and a separate object. And then we just rotate 180 degrees so that it faces the front. And we just move our license plate to where it should be. And then we just attach it to the front bumper as well. Alright. Now we can, I'll just show a little montage of myself making all the scratches on the damaged parts, basically. Don't forget to remove unused materials for each object, of course. For the bumpers, in San Andreas, bumpers will actually rotate and shake when you damage it. So you have to make sure that one corner is to attach to the car itself. So let's say you want this part to be attached. No, I mean it's like it shakes, right? And let's say you put the dummy over here. This part will shake like crazy, while this one will just stay. It's like you have only one screw left on the bumper attaching to the car, and this applies to every single car in San Andreas. You have to have the dummy in one corner, and the other corner can be damaged in whatever way you want, but this side has to be like intact. Some cars have it on the right side, some have it on the left. It's up to your preferences where to put it. And this applies to both the front bumper and the rear bumper. So yeah, keep that in mind when making damage part for the bumpers. With the windscreen, it's actually pretty easy. You just, of course, remove the unused slots, and if I remember correctly, the Primo with the material is, I think, something else similar. No, it's okay. So yeah, TM.3. It is the glass texture. So all we need to do is just loop the object and rename it, and then we just apply the material. And then we just map it. And of course, in the normal view, it looks like solid, but when you go to the UV editing, it should be like it should render properly, basically. Like as you can see, you can see the texture on this view, but not on the normal one. But it's fine. It works in game, no problems. The doors, meanwhile, are essentially a mix of both. You have the body paint using .5, which is the scratch texture, and the windows using the glass texture that we did on the windscreen earlier. And same goes for all four doors. Alright, so here is the final product of the damaged parts. As you can see here, I changed my view to the rendered view so that we can see the actual glass texture. And this is basically what we have now, a whole car plus the damaged parts. And so, next up will be the final part of the series. It should be the final one, because all we need to do now is add dummies, you know, not being dumb, I mean like dummies as in they're like little boxes where where they're like little boxes that indicate where each part is, you know, boot, bonnet, bonnet, boot, bumpers, doors, and other stuff, so that the car actually functions in game properly. And also like we have to make like collisions for the car so that, you know, it actually also functions in game, as you can crash into things, and also a little bit of how to get it in game. Of course, I'm still not perfect at data lines and stuff, so those will probably come later as a separate episodes where I go into dive deeper into data lines, what each file does. But I don't know, right now I still don't know much. But yeah, I guess part 9 will be the final part of the main series. And well, if you enjoyed this video and the content, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and also supporting me via Patreon so that I can, you know, keep coming up with content. Because one of the main reasons that I can't make the videos is that I'm off site. I'm not at home for the majority of the time, and I'm stuck with the bad laptop that you guys see. You guys saw when in one of the videos I recorded on the laptop, and you know you won't like the stuttery footage. I mean, I should be able to record like maybe short videos and non stuff that's not in game or like in Blender, maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. As for part number 9 of the series, it should come out soon enough, and yeah, finally I will be able to make a car, like a basic car. Of course, tuning stuff, maybe I dive into that later, much later, I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. Of course, as I said, like, subscribe, support me via Patreon, all that stuff if you enjoy the content. So see you in the next video.